Hey leaders, it's Dwayne Huff with Band Leadership Seminars, Band Leadership Online, and I hope you've had an absolutely phenomenal week. And of course, if you're in school right now, you'll be watching the replay of this. But some of you just finished up your band camp this week or finishing up right now. Some of you had it last week. Some of you might still have it coming up. And so it's a fun time. It's a good time of year. It's the best time to be in band. Everybody's excited about band camp in the beginning of the year, and it's always very exciting at the beginning, and everybody wants to be there, right? But as band camp ends and marching band season begins and school starts, that's when the challenges start to arise. That's when people start losing their enthusiasm because they're so focused on the other things that they have to do, their schoolwork, all the other activities they're involved in, things of that nature. And so the stress starts to rise, and it becomes a little bit it's still fun, it's still exciting, everybody's still glad to be there, but that's whenever the challenges start to arise. And you know, one of the biggest challenges that we face as leaders, I remember this whenever I was in high school as a section leader and a drum major, and I remember whenever I was in college as a drum major, especially as a freshman drum major, one thing plagued me big time, and it was simply this. It was worrying about what other people thought about me as a person, about me as a leader, about me as far as the job that I was doing. And it can really have the potential of derailing your effectiveness and your efforts. So in this video, I just simply want to encourage you to not allow what other people may think of you bother you, get on your skin, get in your head, and derail your progress. Because one of my mentors told me one time, they said, Dwayne, you know, and this was when I was a freshman drum major at a college, you know, it seemed like the whole world was out to get me. It seemed like nobody liked me. It seems like I didn't have a friend in the world because I was in that leadership position. And anytime we find ourselves in that leadership position, we stand apart and we set ourselves apart, right? And it's not that we're better than anybody else, and we know that. We're there to serve, we're there to help, we're there to give, but not everybody perceives it that way. And I felt like the entire world was out to get me when I was a freshman drum major. And someone pointed out to me one time, they said, you know, Dwayne, there's probably 10% of the people in this band who absolutely love you. There's probably 10% of people in this band who absolutely do not like you. And then the rest of the band, the 80%, barely even know you're there. So don't let it get to you so much. When I thought about it and I really took a look at the people around me, in a band of 150 people, there were probably about 4 or 5 people, for some reason or another, did not like me. And you know what? I got to be honest and say it was probably my fault, because I was good at what I did. I was good on the podium, but I wasn't humble off the podium, and I wasn't a servant. It was about me. It wasn't about them. So naturally, they didn't like me for that reason. And so that got in my head, and it started to derail everything I was doing. It made me less effective. It made me question myself and my abilities. It made me think, what am I doing here? I felt like a poser or an imposter, that I shouldn't have been a leader. And that kind of stuff will get in your head as the year goes on, especially if you start worrying about what other people think about you as a person and you as a leader. And I know that as a teenager or as a young adult who's in a leadership position in a band program, your self-esteem, your self-confidence, your self-awareness has a lot to do with your strength as a leader. And so in this video, what I want to encourage you to do, and I know it's very hard to do this, is to stop worrying about what other people think, or stop thinking about what other people think about you. Because here's the reality of the situation. Somebody told me one time, you know, whenever I was 20 years old, I was always worried about what people thought about me, right? And he probably meant earlier in life too. He says, but when I hit 40 years old, I stopped worrying about what people thought about me. And he says, at 60 years old, I realized nobody was ever thinking about me. And I'm here to encourage you that the people in your life right now, in your band program, the people around you, yeah, they may pick, they may ridicule, they may say some stuff, they may give you a hard time, but at the end of the day, the moment that all settles, which will happen in 5 minutes, if not at least a day, they go back to thinking about themselves. They're not really focused in on you. So stop letting what other people think about you as a person, as a leader, derail your success and your effectiveness. And how do you do that? Well, it's not easy. But over time, I've come to find out it's very simple, and it's similar to what I face when I go out and do my live seminars and I work with students, high school and college students. or if I'm, speaking to any audience, there's certain people in my audience, any given audience, there's certain people who lock eyes with me, I have their full attention the entire time I present. And then there's some people that from the moment I start presenting are just checked out. And there's even been times in my live seminars where people are just sitting there sleeping, and I'm thinking, what are you doing here? And what I've learned to do, this was a hard thing for me, and it goes back to whenever I was a drum major and a student leader, is I had to learn, and I'm encouraging you to do this, I had to learn, and you have to learn, that if you're going to stop worrying about what people think about you as a person and you as a leader and your effectiveness. I used to have this one guy in drum corps used to say, man, you should not be in that leadership position. You don't even know how to march. He was right too. But it got in my head. You know what I'm saying? But you can't pay attention to those people. You can't let those people get in your head and affect what you're doing. What you have to do, what I have to do, and what I have to do today on stage whenever I'm making presentations, is you have to go with the people who are there with you, who are locked in, who like what you're doing, who connect with you, who believe in you, who trust you, and who want to follow you. And you spend every day focused on serving those people. Because again, 10% of the people in your band are not going to like you. They're not going to want to follow you. They're not going to believe anything you say, and you're not going to convert them. But 10% of the people from the very beginning are going to be there with you 100%, no matter what you do, unless you do something really big to mess it up. 10% of the people are going to be there with you. Spend your time focusing on those 10%, because when you do, and you stop worrying about what the other 10% of the band who doesn't like you are doing, the 80% are going to see your effectiveness. It's going to build trust with them. They're going to see you serving and giving and taking care of the 10% that are there with you. And then slowly but surely, more and more and more and more of that 80% are going to come over to your side. They're going to follow you. They're going to trust you. They're going to like you. They're going to help you. But here's what we have to do. I mean, I'm telling you, don't worry about what other people think. And I'm saying to do that, focus on the people who are with you. But there's some other things that you need to bring to the table. Number one, always bring a humble servant's heart and attitude with you. If you're a drum major, get on the podium with confidence and with flair and excitement. But the moment you step off of that podium, humble yourself. Think less of yourself and more about them. Give, serve, love, set the example. And never come to the table with an attitude of, I'm in control, I'm going to do this, you're going to follow me, and I'm going to tell you what to do, and if you don't, there's going to be problems. Never come to the table with that attitude. But if you come with that servant's heart, if you'll come with humility, if you'll give, if you'll serve, and if you will connect with the 10% of the people in your band, just like I had to connect with the 10% of the people in my audience who were with me, and you dedicate the rest of marching band season to serving those people, helping them get the experience they want, the other 80%, many of them will be converted to you. And don't worry about the other 10% who do not like you, because you're never going to convert them. But realize this, it's not about you. It's about them. If somebody doesn't like you as a person or as a leader, or doesn't think you're effective as a leader, or talks bad about you, or talks behind your back, it's not about you. It's always about them. And realize that after the dust settles, they're going to go back to thinking about themselves and their miserable little lives, and it will not be about you. But always be there, even for the 10% of the people who do not like you. Approach them with respect. Serve, give, help. Always have an open door to those people, even if they never come around, because eventually some of them will. Might not be today, might not be tomorrow, might not be by the end of marching band season, but before you know it, some of the people that don't like you right now, don't trust you, don't believe in you, don't want to follow you, you'll find will convert and come over to your side if you'll just stay focused on serving and helping those who are with you. So I hope this has served you, because right now marching band is all exciting and everything, but very shortly it's going to get challenging. And always remember, don't put stock in what other people think about you, because when you do, it can get in your head, it can derail you. Stop thinking about that. How people think about you is none of your business. Focus on the things that matter. Here's how I used to do it in high school. There were certain students and kids that I wanted to hang out with when I was in high school, and they didn't want to pay any attention to me. And I felt very uncomfortable around them. But there were some who did. And many times, to be honest with you, I would push away the ones because I didn't think they were cool enough to be in my world, in my circle. That's a bad way to approach it. I should have embraced all those people. Thankfully, I've learned how to do that over time. But the other thing I would do is, during breaks and during lunchtime and all that kind of stuff, I'd go and have my lunch and hang out with my friends, but then I'd go in the band room and I'd spend my time practicing and getting better at my instrument, because I wasn't going to focus on the people and the situations that were bringing me down. I was going to focus on the things that I could control and do to make myself better. So I encourage you to do that. So just remember, don't worry about what other people think about you. And if you start to think about that, it's going to get in your head. So start focusing on the people who love you, who want to follow you, who trust you, and serve those people, and focus on the things that will improve you, make you better. And whenever you spend your time focused on the things that matter and the people that matter, you'll find very soon that what people think goes away. And later in life, as you graduate and get into the real world, you're going to realize ain't nobody was thinking about you anyway. It just felt like it. They were more focused on themselves. And when they don't like you, it's not about you, it's about them. So go out, be the best servant you can possibly be, and remember, you can inspire superior performance in your band. You just got to be willing to have a servant's heart, be humble, take your eyes off you, and realize leadership is not about you. It's about them. And when you realize that, you're going to set yourself apart, you're going to be effective, and people are going to look back over your legacy as a leader, and they're going to thank you. And I have people to this day who come back to me and say, hey, Dwayne, you know, I look back and see what you did as a student leader, and a lot of the things that you did for us, we really appreciate. And that's the reward, knowing that you helped and served people. So have a great weekend if you're going into the weekend watching this, and just always keep that faith, that courage, that excitement, that enthusiasm, that passion in your heart, and bring it to the field and bring it into rehearsal every single day, and people will be able to follow that example because it'll connect with them. It'll lower their walls. It'll build trust, and it will cause them to naturally want to follow you. You don't have to find yourself in a position of being a dictator leader. You'll always be one who somebody wants to help, who wants to lead them, and you'll be amazed at the 80% that converted to your way of thinking. Have a great day. Have a great weekend. Stay tuned. I'll shoot some more video like this. If you have any questions or comments, drop them below. That's where these videos come from, and we'll talk soon. Have a great day. Bye-bye.